How do we know? Oh.
Hey, we're live.
Hey.
What do you know?
Whoa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 6 Degrees of Feature Film podcast. I am the gatekeeper, also known as Brianne, also known as Miss Movies.
And I'm Gozer. I'm Stacey Howard.
No, I set you up to be the keymaster, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shit. I already messed everything up. I'm so disappointed in myself.
Continue.
Bye, everyone. No, I'm leaving.
So that's Stacey Howard.
Hi.
And today we have a special guest from Kinda Funny. You know him as the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on. I'm already having an excellent time.
Yeah, and we've just started.
We did.
And you just botched that, Stacey. I'm so excited.
I'm sorry, okay? I know you're disappointed in me and my life, but I'm really trying here, okay? So
it happens.
Your hair looks fantastic, so it makes up for everything.
Thank you. That's all I care about in life. That's all I really wanted. So,
So, Nick, Stacey has no clue who you are.
Good.
I don't.
So we thought you'd tell her.
Some man in the small machine computer thing is in front of me. What do you do? Who are you? How can we support you? Where can we find you?
I am part of a group known as Kinda Funny. You can go to kindafunny.com or you can go to youtube.com/kindafunny to see all of our ridiculous shenanigans. But basically, we are just, like you guys, internet personalities who talk about everything that really matters, things that really matter. Like Suicide Squad, for instance.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Which we had to go to 2 different theaters to see last night because the first theater, like it wasn't a bad enough omen, the first theater lost power. And they were like, oh, sorry, we can't show this movie right now. It's like God's way of telling us, don't waste your time with this film. So we went to a shittier, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss or not on your podcast.
You can cuss up a storm.
We went to a worse movie theater and saw it finally, and it was just something special. That's for sure. I don't know why I started talking about Suicide Squad. I'm sorry about that.
It's all
we
right.
both saw it last
we
night
saw it too.
Yeah.
Not
together, but
my impression was like, this is like watching MTV in the 90s. That's all I could think the whole time. Well, you were born in the 90s, so.
I was born in 1990. I'm a child of the 90s, and it was a little nostalgic for me. Yeah.
For a second, I did the math wrong in my head, and I was like, is she 16?
No, 26. You're off by 10 years. It's okay.
Close.
I know I look 16. I know I look like a beautiful young flower. But I'm getting up there in years. And yeah. Suicide Squad.
So yes, so that's what we do. That's what Kinda Funny is. We're just a group of idiots making videos on the internet. That's what we do.
They have a weekly podcast called The Game Over Greggy Show.
Ooh.
That's where I found them because Max Landis was on their show. That's where I started. And now I'm 100 and something episodes in.
Really? I'm so sorry. There's so many better ways to spend your time. Literally staring at a brick wall would be productive.
Okay, but what got me, when Max Landis was on, you know how like he takes over the show. Like it's the Max Landis show with some other people. So I was like, I kind of like this. Maybe I should check out another episode and see if like this is a podcast that I'm going to put in my regular queue. And it was Nick's Starbucks story about how he decided to like drop off his Starbucks because like now they accept where you can like text in your order. So then there's like a really long line. This is basically why I watch your show, because of that story. Good times.
Mobile ordering. It's still to this day the bane of my existence. And you know what? Like I'm coming to terms with the fact that A, I'm too old to live on this planet, and B, I just need to be a quicker adopter of this technology because I don't know if you know or not, but we're just moving now into our first kind of official studio, moving out of our spare bedroom, Greg's spare bedroom, one of my coworkers' spare bedrooms. Getting our own office for the first time. We're building a studio and it's awesome. But I've worked with all these, like, I'm trying to work with local vendors and try to buy as much stuff locally as possible. And every single time I'm just like, I got to go to Amazon. Amazon is just, they're the evil empire, but they are ruling the world. And I just need to submit. And it's the same with mobile ordering at Starbucks. I just need to get over the fact that human beings are obsolete and that eventually a machine will make my decaf venti iced Americano way better than any human being hands could ever make it. And I just need to order it on my phone, go in there and deal with it. And maybe I won't even drink it. Maybe the machine will drink it for me.
But will they misspell your name in the same way that every Starbucks barista just excels at?
Do you think that there is more than one way of spelling Nick? Because there is.
There is.
Have they spelled it with 2 Ks? How do you misspell Nick?
So the 2 most popular misspellings of my name, which by the way is probably one of the most common names on the planet, N-I-C-K, not very hard to name, is N-I-K-E, which also is synonymous with the very popular.
Did they put a check mark?
At one point, someone did put in parentheses, "Just do it."
That's
That's
perfect.
That's good.
It's perfect.
But then I also get NIC a lot because I'm like Nick, and they go, "Oh, NIC," but I have yet to get any other spellings, which is it's fun. It's what I look forward to in life. It's how are you going to misspell it?
Before we get into our feature film, the other thing that I like about Nick is how he talks about his wife on the show. He's seems like very sincere and nice, and I hope that my husband speaks about me that way to his coworkers, but I never know. Although sometimes when I meet them, they'll be like, "I've heard a lot about you." And so I get a little concerned, but then I was like, we have a really good relationship, so I'm assuming it's good things.
It probably is. I have a few bad things to say
that.
about you, but
well, you know,
no, just
you're my film sister, so that works out.
True.
And we're always in competition.
Always. All
right. So let's get into it. Our feature film today is Ghostbusters from 1984, not the recent Ghostbusters. That's why I wore my Ghostbusters outfit. Yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
Gotta
who
be
you
themed.
gonna call?
Ghostbusters. That's who I'm calling. And we let Nick pick this. So hey, thanks for picking Ghostbusters.
You know, it's fascinating to me because I work with a wider age range of people. So we've got one of my coworkers, Tim, is 20. I think he's 26 now or 27. He does not like the original Ghostbusters. Now, granted, he didn't like the remake of this Ghostbusters either. But I think the thing that amazes me about Ghostbusters is how it is a touchstone for a lot of people as far as nostalgia is concerned. And it's very generational. I'm learning, which I always thought a quality film was a quality film, but I guess I'm learning that as I get older, is that some things just don't translate. I happen to think that Ghostbusters transcends all time and space. I think it's a phenomenal film. I think that when I look back at my life and the amount of time I've sat in front of a television or a movie screen watching, Ghostbusters is probably accounts for at least a good 3% of that, if I'm being honest, with how many times I've seen that film. But I think what I like most about it is what they tried to do with the remake is that they brought a group of really talented friends together and tried to make something special. And in regards to the first Ghostbusters, I think that really, really worked. I think that that's proof positive that sometimes you can actually create magic on screen when you get the right people in the room and everyone's at that right stage in their career where they're still hungry, but they're just reaching that sort of confidence level because they're getting super popular. Like Bill Murray was super popular back in the day. Everyone else was kind of still coming up with him. And I think you really, really, they just hit that stride. And then we just don't talk about Ghostbusters 2.
You know, I don't think I've seen Ghostbusters 2, but I have seen the ghost blowing.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know, right? And Catherine Reitman. Those are the two things that I know about Ghostbusters 2.
That's right. What is it? Girl with puppy?
Girl with puppy.
Girl with puppy.
Hey. Hey, Catherine.
I actually don't mind Ghostbusters 2. I love the first film. And like you were saying, Nick, it might be a generational thing. But for me, as a child of the 90s, the movie came out obviously before I was born. We had it on VHS tape, and I had an older brother. So he would watch that movie all the time, and I would watch along with him. And so I think it was through osmosis. Like, he said it was great. He loved it. He laughed at it. Then I was like, oh, this is a good movie. I'm going to love it and laugh at it too. And it is a good movie.
And a great television animated series.
Is it a television?
I loved it as a television animated series.
There was a couple, and one of them, I think, there was a ripoff called Ghostbusters, because I guess they weren't smart enough to get the TV rights to it. And I think they had to make a cartoon called The Real Ghostbusters, which is, I think, hopefully the one you're talking about.
Yes.
Where, I think one of them had a monkey in it, and that was the bad one.
I just love that Slimer's like their pet. Like, that just makes me happy.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
That's kind
I
of
used
cute.
to have those toys when I was a kid. I'd make them fight Batman all the time. I don't know why. I should have put that together, but, when you're a kid, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Weird.
Who are you going to call? What are you going to do?
I tried to make my hair look like Sigourney Weaver's, but it did not work out.
It still looks
just like
good.
went whoosh.
It still looks good.
I need like blow dryers on me at all times.
Well, because she had the fan going. She had the wind.
Did.
When she was like kind of possessed.
She had a team of people to take care of it. So that's the thing I need. Team of people.
And also to float. If you can't float, you're not Sigourney Weaver. So,
and that was a practical effect too.
All of those were pretty much practical. I mean, there was still a lot of compositing too, but yeah, they did a lot of stuff practical back then. But there's just a difference in that style of filmmaking than what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
Like Suicide Squad was, we were talking about that earlier, is just all so fake. And the more elements on screen that you have that you can tell aren't actually there in real life, the more it starts to lose a little bit of its soul. And like when you go back and watch, again, granted, I'm a child of the 80s, so I'm a little bit jaded when it comes to this, but you really had to bring talented people together and just let them do their job. And specifically with Sigourney Weaver, for instance, like, who would have thought she would have been good in comedy? Up until that point, she had not done really anything like that. And so you put her in Ghostbusters, and you're like, God, what? And I just got an alien poster behind me. She's phenomenal in that film, but that film is not funny.
Not at all. I thought it was funny with, the thing popping out of the chest. That I laughed hysterically. I don't know about you guys. Just kidding. I didn't. I was scared out of my mind.
But I mean, that's sort of kind of where we're at with Ghostbusters on that front. I think I lost my train of thought about 15.
Well, I think the problem today is, like, back when Ghostbusters was made, it was more, let's focus on the story first and then focus on the effects that go with it, because of the fact is that we don't have, at that time, we didn't have as great of effects as we do now. So now I think the effects are what's coming first, and then the story is being built around that almost.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of improv happening, and that's not to say that the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters didn't have a lot of improv, because from what I understand, it's largely improvised. But yeah, there was sort of an underlining, like, the story I felt in a lot of those films that we loved from the 80s was really sort of coveted, right? It was the thing that was protected most when they went into production. It was the thing that I think a lot of directors still to this day try to fight for, but they're just not given either enough time or enough faith in their ability to actually to guard that as well as they should. Like Suicide Squad was, I felt, a really, really, really good idea that just failed to deliver. And I think the reason why is because it really could have used about probably 6 more months and like 2 more rewrites in the screenplay. Whereas, you've got Ghostbusters that started off as 5 guys that were supposed to be fighting ghosts as a corporation in space or something like that in the future, right? And then to bring it back down to reality and say, what if we set this in real time, present day New York, and people could, it was just about this sort of like spirit coming back. And I don't know, I just feel like they kept it attainable and accessible, and I think that's really, really important. That's something that a lot of movies these days just don't do. And that's for a number of reasons, but I think not the least of which is this ever-present need to escalate everything, right? Like Ghostbusters, when I was a kid, terrified me because you knew that Zool wasn't just going to stop at New York, right? She was going to probably go on to take over the entire world. We didn't really need to say that. It was just scary enough that New York was under attack by ghosts. That was okay. And when New York was under attack, it seemed believable that these 5 schmoes, who by all accounts are total fuck-ups, could actually save the day, right? But then you get to the new Ghostbusters, and it's like, oh my God, they're like, it's just too much. It's this ever escalating battle of escalation that just never ends, and it's annoying.
Yeah, they try and make it on this huge giant scale and make the stakes seem so epic, and sometimes it's like you can have just one city or one person or one group.
You can have just one shark.
Yeah, one shark. It's okay.
You don't even have to show it.
Yeah,
at the end.
It doesn't need to be a Sharknado.
I mean, it can be a Sharknado.
It can.
That's why we love living in America. But I mean, that's just kind of that's what goes through my brain, because I don't know. Saving the world is always it's always fun to watch someone try to save the world, but it's just getting less and less believable unless you're someone like Thor or Captain America, or you have these super powered human beings. But even then, you're like, is it really even possible for them to have done what they do in movies like The Avengers or Avengers 2, where it's just 5 people fighting off hordes of alien soldiers? I'm like, is that even close to believable for these people that we've already set up as being these uniquely superpowered human beings? I don't know. I guess I miss the simpler days before mobile ordering on Starbucks, before Amazon.
The simpler days when phones used to ring. I was like, hey, there's a phone ringing in this movie. What's the deal? You don't even know what a phone is.
I haven't been on a phone call in 7 years. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But
my favorite part of the phones is that they had cords back then.
Yes.
If you wanted to talk to someone, you were confined to as long as the cord would allow you to go.
I don't remember that, because we had the little mobile phone, but then sometimes it would run out of battery and you had to charge it, and that was super annoying. That really confined you. I remember that.
In a power outage, you couldn't use that, though. I totally have a phone with a cord in case there's a power outage. I'm not even lying right now, and I wish I were.
It's completely ridiculous. Well,
it is so crazy.
Yeah.
I also have a tinfoil hat. That's just life.
In case the aliens come. You got to protect your mind.
Just in case.
Yep.
Even imagine how people grew up born in the 90s without you're when you started dating someone, and you didn't have the possibility that your parents would be listening in on that phone call. It's just like mystifying to me that you had that freedom growing up.
Oh my gosh, we had our own phone line.
Pick up the phone, and she would be on the other end trying not to breathe. And I'm like, Ma, I can hear you breathing, and you're also cooking. Like I can hear you cooking. Hang up the goddamn phone.
How did you guys have a love life? How did you?
Okay, well, in high school, I had my own phone line. So hey.
Yeah.
Me and my sisters. What?
Whoa.
I don't remember that phone number at all, but I do remember we had like our own answering machine. Like no one ever called me. I don't know what I needed it, but hey, I had it.
I still remember my childhood phone number. I think everyone.
I remember that.
I remember that
number.
One. I'm gonna call it today and see who has it now.
Do that.
Yeah,
please.
I will. Who are you gonna call? Childhood phone number.
We'll call it on your phone.
I will.
This is our bit now.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. Ask them if they've seen Ghostbusters and what they think of the new one, because everyone's opinion matters.
What did you guys think of the new one?
I didn't see it. I haven't seen it.
Really?
Sometimes I miss movies. You know this. I miss it. Sorry, guys.
No, trust me. I missed Star Trek Beyond, and I'm like kicking myself for that.
Oh, that I saw twice in theaters already.
I need to see it.
I
want to see it so bad.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. I saw it for my boyfriend's birthday because he's obsessed with Star Trek. I went to Hollywood Bowl and saw the Star Trek from 2009 live with the live orchestra, the Philharmonic Orchestra. That was incredible.
That's amazing. I love that they do that. I love that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go to one of those sometime. I want to do the John Williams one.
Yeah. And there's also, they had West Side Story, which I really wanted to go to, which I missed that one. And then, I need to look at their little roster of movies.
I should do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have this problem with like going outside.
She does. I've never seen her outside her house. It's like she's so pale.
Don't you have children? Shouldn't you allow them to walk outside and do things small or something?
We do that, but when we're not doing that, I'm inside.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep. Watching movies.
That's what I'm doing. You know what movie I watched the other day? Let's bring it on over to our next one, which is we're linking to 80s comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Nick, which one would you like to do first?
Well, we can talk.
Out of the two we selected.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk. Well, hold on. I forgot the third one. What was the third one?
Well, you have your own that you need to talk about later, but
right. Let's move on.
I'm talking either. Oh,
right. Let's move on to Ferris Bueller's.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. That came out June 11th, 1986. Again, Stacey, you were not born. I was
not
5 years old, so probably didn't see it in theaters. High school guy is determined to have a day off from school despite what the principal thinks of that. Now, here's the thing. Okay, written and directed by John Hughes, who wrote it in like 2 days, I'm sure, because that's what he does. That's his thing, whatever. I wish I was that smart, but I want to know, because I was trying to figure, I was like, I never really thought about this before. Are they twins? They've got to be twins. Him and Jennifer Grey, Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey have got to be twins in this.
Or are they like the 18 months apart?
Oh, where Irish twins?
I think she's a year younger than him, isn't she?
Well, he's a No, he's a senior.
He's a senior.
She could be a junior.
She's a junior. I think they're like those 18 month apart, where it's like the mom had it, the kid like one right after the other.
Yeah, mine were pretty close. They're not that close, but unfortunately,
it happens.
So. Your poor body.
I know.
You know, when a man loves a woman and they love each other and have mutual respect for each other.
Yes.
Babies happen.
I almost had to have this conversation with my daughter, and I'm like, this is too early. You're 5. We're not doing this yet.
I had the birds and the bees conversation when I was 5.
Great.
I did.
I can't wait.
I knew all the parts. I knew everything that I needed to know. I was a very well-educated young woman.
I love that you have to have a conversation about the birds and bees to your daughter while you're wearing the Deathly Hallows around your neck.
Yes. Yes.
Like this, I love the world we live in because the Muppets, Star Wars, and Deathly Hallows are all still relevant. Even though I haven't read the play yet, but I'm going to this weekend, I think.
I know. I need to get the book.
The Cursed Child.
The Cursed Child. Yeah.
Nice.
Because I just went to Wizarding World of Harry Potter, so now I need to read Cursed Child.
I'm so jealous of you. My wife and I are taking a trip to London in September, and I called everyone I know. I'm like, somebody has got to be able to get me tickets to the show, and no one could. It's so
damn.
And I have no pull in the world. It was at that point that I realized I'm like, oh, this is what being like a F-list internet celebrity can get you. Nothing. Just,
You're nobody. Hey, welcome to the Loser Club. You can't get tickets either.
I'll read it on Amazon. I'll read it on my Kindle. That's just good. I'll act it out in my own brain. I'm very
we'll act it out for it. We'll do a live Skype session, and we'll all play parts, and we will read Cursed Child.
Perfect.
Great.
I
can't wait.
Back to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What is your like memory of this film in the 80s? Like
in the 80s?
Do you remember seeing it when you were a kid, and like did it ever resonate with you?
I remembered seeing it. I do remember liking it. I didn't understand why Jeannie was so upset with him. So that was something I understood more as an adult.
Right.
And be like, yeah, I get it, and they're so close in age. But one thing I was thinking, like, as a kid, like, he's pretending to be sick. Maybe I should pretend to be sick. So I don't have to go to school. Not that, it would be all great like his day is. But yeah, like what and how would I do that? And the kid in like E.T., he puts like the thermometer up to, which is, we don't use those anymore, puts the thermometer up to the light. And I was like, that would have like just broken it. There's no way that would have like gone, oh, you're at like 110? Wait a minute. We got to go to the doctor right now. We're done. But like for this, I was like, what was something I did that like made me stay home from school? I totally took like cream of mushroom soup and put it in the toilet and told my mom I threw up.
What?
That's one thing
that
I
is
did.
Genius.
Did it work? Did that work?
That worked.
It probably smelled too. Cream of mushroom soup does smell like throw up a little bit, but like in a good way.
Yeah, great. It's like clam chowder. It's perfect.
Clam chowder. I never pretended to be sick when I was little. I don't think I ever did that. That's true. Yeah. That's true. I have perfect hair. I'm a perfect human being. But I think because I missed school enough, just because like every weekend we had like a dance competition or like I showed livestock and stuff like that and like county fairs and stuff. So like almost every other Friday.
Where did you grow up that you were showing livestock?
I'm from Texas.
Oh, you're from Texas. Okay. I was gonna say
yes, I'm from Texas. I was in 4-H growing up. I showed animals.
Great.
And so every other weekend I would have to leave on like a Friday. Like I actually missed a lot of school growing up. So I couldn't afford to be sick because I was like missing it to show, my steers and heifers. My steer Bambi. He was my first steer.
What a different world.
See, I could be sick for school, but I was not allowed to be sick for dance practice because if you are sick, you are automatically an alternate for the rest of the season.
Right.
So I was not allowed to skip that. So I still had to go to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that loophole worked. They don't do that anymore, but whatever.
No, they're still strict. They still did that growing up.
They're still strict, but they won't do that rule anymore. Because parents are like, I can't know.
Oh, political correctness, child labor laws, whatever. So dumb.
If you're sick, you can't go to dance practice. You'll spread it to everyone else.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right.
And then you lose national championships because you don't do that anymore. That's what happens.
True. That is very true. Matthew Broderick got nominated for a Golden Globe for this. Did you guys know that?
For Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. For sitting and monologuing to the camera in his pajamas and dancing around.
Okay, wait.
Chicago.
Oh, here's the thing. When I saw Deadpool, I was like, I know what the end credit scene's going to be. It's going to be a parody of Ferris Bueller's end credit scene. I knew it. And I was like, it's coming. That's exactly what's going to happen. And it did. And I was like, yes, validated. And all I had was my husband to tell, like next to me. I'm like,
oh, no.
I know what's going to happen.
I literally was like, this is so funny and clever. And 90% of the theater was like, I don't get it. Why is it in a bathroom? Why is it in the hallway? I don't get it.
What? This movie is dumb.
So when you were young and saw this, when, I don't know, you were 6 when this came out?
6, yeah.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw it in theaters. I was a big home video, like VHS kid back in the day. But this movie is special to me. It probably ranks as one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, simply because it was the first time I remember thinking, you don't have to play by other people's rules to be and you can still be an okay person, right? You can still be a hero and you can still be the protagonist in your own life, but you don't necessarily have to listen to people above you telling you that you have to do something. And like, that's a very important message to me. Granted, I don't advocate taking that to the extremes in either way, but I just feel like as a kid growing up, I wanted to be more. I've always actually, even as a kid, 36-year-old adult male like I am right now, I still want to be more like Ferris Bueller. I still want to be like, that's your option. That's great. I'm going to go do it like this way because I feel like that's going to have a better outcome. And that's the way I want to do it. And it's more fun. And you guys can slave away at a job over here, but I'm going to go hijack a parade and sing Twisted Shout in the middle of downtown Chicago. Like, why not? Right? Because why not? And that's such an amazing just theme of the movie. It's like, why the fuck not? Why can't you do this stuff? Why can't you be Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Why do you have to go to high school? And you damn well know that Ferris Bueller in real life is probably a multimillionaire celebrity right now. Going on, probably his third wife, unfortunately, because he didn't seem too faithful in that movie, which is unfortunate. But needless to say, it wasn't your typical like coming of age story. It wasn't like I'm falling in love with a girl and I can't get her. It's unrequited love, and I have to realize that I'm, a special human being. And then at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if she loves me or not because I love myself. No, it wasn't about that. Yeah. Everyone loved Ferris Bueller because he was fucking awesome.
He's the man.
He was the man, and he had confidence in himself, and he could do anything. And like, that's the guy I wanted to be. I wanted to be Ferris Bueller growing up.
But it's really Cameron's coming of age story, if you think about it, because the way he starts the film and the way he ends the film are extremely different.
Well, Cameron is the only one that actually has a character arc.
Yes, and it's great, and it's devastating watching it now. I just was laughing. We watched it the other day, and I was like, why would they even think that going in reverse would take miles off of a car? And my husband just said, you have to remember they're in high school. Yeah, they probably don't drive cars. And I was like, yeah, I guess. But
they probably found someone in Chicago and paid him $50, and he could have rolled back the odometer with a screwdriver, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it was a heavy film, and I've read some trivia on IMDb about it. Like I've read some of the stuff about it, and apparently, John Hughes' original script was a lot more nihilistic than that. It was a lot darker and dealt with like their sort of place as teenagers growing up in a world full of war, and like, the Cold War was still happening in the 80s. Well, I don't think it come down by 86, maybe it had. Well, anyways, his idea of where these kids were sort of displaced in society and displaced in culture, I think still comes through a little bit, but it especially comes through in the Cameron character, who's got the older generation dad who's super overbearing, almost to the point where he's abusive. And Cameron is a product of that. And Ferris is a product of everyone's sort of ego, right? He's that character where everyone wants to be and strives to be, but in reality, if we're being honest with ourselves, we're probably a little bit more like Cameron than we are like Ferris Bueller. I think more of us, maybe with a little Sloane mixed in, although I would easily trade my life with Sloane's in a heartbeat because damn, she rocked that fucking white leather jacket. Like, rocked it with those tassels. Come on, son.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, right here. Perfect.
So
play with them a little bit.
Huge in the 80s. Coming back.
At the ArcLight, they had like a picture of people that redid that shot of them looking at the art. And I was like, yep, I was like, this is my artist. This is totally, I need to be friends with this man so I can do all this with him.
I'm going to Chicago in, I think, a month for Let's Play Live. And I really want to go to that tower and just lean my head against the window like they did in the scene where they just kind of like free flowing, like take their hands off it and just look down, feel like you're falling. I think that tower doesn't have that anymore, though. I think they like built it out, but I'll let you guys know.
And then you'll go to the stock market and you can do all the hand signals and all that fun stuff.
Are you even allowed to do that? That was one of those things like, how are these kids in here? There's got to be like, that would not fly this day and age. 3 teenagers walking the freaking stock market and just start making fun of people. It's not going to happen.
It's like an observation room. They've got to have those.
Do they have those? And also,
I don't know.
Do they have those in hospitals? Like you see that sometimes. Yes, you just look down.
They do.
I want to get popcorn and I want to get some Junior Mints. I want to
watch Junior Mints. That's right, Junior Mints. I actually was going to go to a surgery because my father-in-law is an orthopedic surgeon, and I said, "Hey, I want to see a surgery." He's like, "Are you sure about that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Why don't you watch this first?" And he gave me this thing to watch. And he's like, "And then, if you're okay with that, you can come to a surgery." And I was like, all right. So I watched this show or whatever that he had me watch, and I was like, I'm not going. There is no way. I'm not. Do it. I won't be doing that. I won't be watching you break anyone's bones. Like, we're not going.
You don't want to see with the nail and the hammer,
like bone saws. Oh my gosh. Nope. No.
Ooh.
Done.
Yeah, that's terrible. This is why we like movies and not real stuff.
Exactly.
That's true. Anyway. I feel like I've seen enough. There's those reality shows like ER.
Yeah,
whatever.
those are enough.
Not ER the show, but like there are reality shows about the emergency room and they'll show stuff like that. And sometimes I watch it and I feel like I could take it. I feel like I'm a strong person and I can handle it.
Do you ever watch Botched?
Yes. Oh, Botched is amazing.
Something special. It is something special. It is kind of a guilty. That one, and I have to be honest, if it's just the three of us, because I know, it's just the three of us right now. We're not live streaming this or anything.
It was like 11 of us.
Recently got back into keeping up with the Kardashians.
Awesome.
Every once in a while, you guys just get back in there and keep up with the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, I was in a sorority that was on literally 24/7. That and like, what's it called? The one with Hugh Hefner and his
the girls next door. Oh, I totally watched that.
And The Hills, and all those like stupid scripted reality shows.
Ferris Bueller would totally have his own reality.
He would. Oh, he'd be like a fucking Vine star. If Ferris Bueller was made today, he would be a YouTube Vine star, and their entire adventures would all be on Snapchat and like Periscope and stuff.
Yep.
That would be today's remake, and it would be awful.
God bless him.
Because kids today don't live in the moment. They don't know what it was like to struggle in the 90s.
They don't know
the internet, but we didn't have like Facebook. Okay, so we couldn't live do anything. You had to do it and then edit it.
Exactly. You can't. You couldn't easily share just useless, minute details of your life with the entire world, and then pretend like you cared about other people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It was a hard time.
You had to be a true artist.
You really did. You really did.
We had the colored ketchup, which you could make art with. That was art right there. Do you guys remember that?
The colored
no
ketchup. Okay, so they made it. We're really getting into detail. It was like purple and green, and they had red, and you could make art with your condiments, basically. And they made the little hole really small so you could it wasn't like just squeezing out.
This is not my generation.
This is not a good motion to do on any Skype. But I'm just saying, you could make little, and the commercial was all about they made art on cars and stuff.
Insane.
But they had 3 colors. The 90s were hard. I know. I know. I feel you. My generation.
Nickelodeon hit a lot of people hard in the 90s. You should go to, there's a lot of Nickelodeon support groups. All that color, all that slime, all that.
Everything was extreme sports, extreme inline skating. Remember the 90s?
Oh, it was great.
Shit, it was great. It was good.
I have 2 bits of trivia I want to share before we move on to our next film. But one of the things I liked was Charlie Sheen not sleeping for 48 hours so he could have that drugged out look. And I was like, yeah, right.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, he did. He's a real method actor. Charlie is.
Well, he wasn't that big when he did that movie, though. So I don't know because he had done. I think he got the part because he knew Jennifer Grey because she knew Emilio Estevez or something like that. I don't think Charlie Sheen had done too much stuff before that.
It might have been his first feature film.
What's fake facts? Hashtag
fake facts. We make up a lot of stuff because we never Google it and make sure we're saying it right.
Google
Let's just say that this was Charlie Sheen's first movie, and maybe this introduced him to drugs. What if that happened?
Whoa.
He's like, I played a drug addict, and he actually tried it, and then 30 years later, he has AIDS.
The other thing I liked was that John Hughes offered the role of the garage attendant to Bill Paxton, and because they worked on Weird Science together. And Bill Paxton was like, that's too small of a role for me. I'm going to turn it down. And then he says that he regrets that because he never worked with John Hughes again.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what happens. Sorry, dude.
John Hughes had a lot of great qualities, but apparently he had a pretty big ego. And when you said no to him, he cut you out of his life. Famously, Molly Ringwald, went to other films and never worked with him again. And it's really sad. Because he was her, she was his rather, on New, she was his leading lady. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she was like, I don't want to do teenager stuff anymore because she wasn't a teenager anymore.
She's 34 years old.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Charlie Sheen right now. I think it says, let's do a quick scene.
Well, while you're looking that up, also recently, the actual car, not the car from the movie, because the car from the movie is a replica of a car. Basically, but the actual car sold for $15 million a few months ago, and I'm like, crazy. But the replica that they made sold for like 200,000 or something.
That's right. They knew each other from Red Dawn. Sorry, he had done Red Dawn.
Yes.
Beforehand, and they met during Red Dawn.
Red Dawn is the first PG-13 film ever released. What do you know?
That's right. That's right. I knew that. And they remade it with Chris Hemsworth, right?
Why did they do that?
I don't know, but apparently the original was pretty good, right?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, amazing is a strong word. It's fun. It's a good film.
It's a good fun film. Okay,
worth a
I'll
watch.
it then.
Worth a watch.
Okay, worth a watch. Cool.
Let's move on to our next film, our next 80s comedy for this link. We've done Ghostbusters and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and now we're going to Beverly Hills Cop II, which came out May 20th, 1987. Recently is now on Netflix. Thanks, Netflix.
Mm-hmm. You got to watch it again. It's such a good film. It's such a great. It's like it's in my opinion sort of the peak of that series. Like
the Terminator 2 of the series.
It really is the Terminator 2 of the Beverly Hills Cop series. In fact, that's a perfect analogy because after Terminator 2 just goes very downhill.
It does.
What's happening?
You know what Hills Cop movies are there?
3. I saw the third one first. Because I do things out of order, and I was an extra in some of the scenes because they filmed it at Great America. And growing up in San Jose, they were looking for kids to be at Great America. Mm-hmm. So they came to my middle school and were like, we need extras. So I went and did that for a day. That was fun.
Cool.
I'm not in the film, but I know some kids that are. And so I saw that one first because of that. And then recently I saw the first Beverly Hills Cop, and I was like, I really like this. This is way better than that third film.
It's so good.
And then I just watched the second one the next night, and I was like, this is even better than the first film. Oh my gosh. And which is great about watching things out of order is you usually see the worst one first and then the better ones after that. So that worked out.
So you kind of build up to the climax.
What do you know?
I like
Someone
that.
was like, actually, that's kind of brilliant now. Now that I think about it, instead of seeing it in order and seeing the decline, you actually see it on the rise. I was like, I know, right? I'm brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Smart cookie. Good for you.
But Stacey, you didn't like this movie.
Really?
Which is...
So I had never seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
That's probably why.
And so I saw this film. It was on Netflix. And she was like, Nick's coming on the show, watch the movie. And I was like, okay. So I popped it, or I want to say I popped in the movie. I didn't. I just, hit play. And Brigitte Nielsen is in there within like 30 seconds. And I was like, this is amazing. Because I love Brigitte Nielsen. I have a deep relationship and love for her, even if she's like drunk in the park
with Flava
Flav like she is nowadays. There's like literally videos of her just like in the park, just kind of passed out with booze. That's my aesthetic. That's my vibe. I love that. I was like, this is it. This is great. And then from then on, I don't know.
I did like the accent she was trying to do, though, because she was trying to do an American accent, and it was not going over so well.
She was. And she just used to own her foreign
Why didn't they just have her...
I think she's like Swedish. I don't even know.
Why didn't they just have her do her regular voice?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, why did you do that? Why is that choice?
Maybe so you could like understand her more, because she had already done
Rocky 4.
Yes. And she was she was still married to Sly Stallone when she did this movie, and she had an affair with Tony Scott when she did this movie.
Holy shit, Stacey.
Oh my God.
Dropping some knowledge.
Bombs going. So many things happening. And I loved her outfits in the movie. I like that she wore one of those little black nets over her face when she was at the Playboy Mansion.
And she has to like lift it up to kiss him.
Yes. Oh, that was great. That was great. But yeah, I was feeling Brigitte in this, and I don't know. I didn't.
That reminds me that originally Axel Foley was supposed to be Sly Stallone.
Right. Yes.
And then they went and
he did Cobra.
Out, and so they made Cobra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still got to see Cobra. Guys, I'm not doing so good on my watching all of Stallone's films. Yeah. I like dropped off for what. So I have this goal of watching all of Stallone's films this year. And
you don't really need to see some of them. Cobra is one of those films that you really don't need to see.
I want to see all of his films. Like I'm pretty deep into it already, but I still got quite a few to go.
It was one of those movies where you could totally tell, like, God, man, it started to wear a little thin when it's as far as Stallone as the action hero. Mm-hmm. And I think Brigitte Nielsen's in that, right? Isn't she the lead character?
She is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not as a blonde though. I don't think she's a blonde. I think she's a brunette, but it doesn't matter. I remember not liking that movie very much. It scared the hell out of me, but I've watched it in recent years. I'm like, this is actually just kind of boring, unfortunately.
Did you guys know that Beverly Hills Cop 2 was nominated for an Oscar?
Oh yeah, for song.
Shakedown.
That's-
And like at first I was like, okay, it lost out to Dirty Dancing's I Had the Time of My Life. And also
makes
nominated was Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now from Mannequin. I was like, man, this was a year.
Whoa.
I'll tell you one thing about my wife and I, when we got married, a very small wedding where we didn't have the traditional wedding. We just got married at the Civic Center down in San Francisco, at the City Hall rather. And we had a cocktail party. But the one thing we did want to do was the first dance, and that was our song. It was so good.
Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
From
Was that it?
What's hilarious is when we sing it, I gotta be honest with you, we'll sing it and she sings the guy part and I sing the girl part. And but I just like doing it. So nothing's gonna stop me. That's the whole point of the song.
Did you know there's a second Mannequin movie? It's called Mannequin 2 on the Move.
Yes, they did that on How Did This Get Made?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I didn't watch it, but I listened to the episode and laughed. And I feel like I've seen the movie. I feel like I've seen every moment because they talk about it in such detail with such love and appreciation for the filming.
In that movie? Wait, who was the lead? It wasn't Andrew McCarthy.
But when I saw that Shakedown was nominated, I was like, what is Shakedown? And then I was like, it took me a moment and I was like, oh yeah.
What song is
Shakedown, Breakdown, Takedown. Da, 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 da. I don't know how this part goes. Shakedown.
I don't know what's happening in front of my face right now.
You're busted. You really don't know this song.
No.
Oh man, it's good. I bought it on iTunes. I was like, I got to get this song.
No, but I did like the do.
Well, yeah, that's obviously good.
I know, but
you go back and watch the first Beverly Hills Cop because I think you'll, with a little bit of context, I think you'll appreciate that. That you're talking about Eddie Murphy at probably close to the height of his career. I would say Eddie Murphy's the height of his career is probably around Coming to America, which I think he did.
Yes, that was the first rated R film I ever saw, Coming to America.
Really?
But I mean, Eddie Murphy in the 80s was like unstoppable. He was like a god. And then you can see in the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy, his sort of the first film where it's like, let's take a risk and let's put Eddie Murphy in this. He's not really that bankable of a name. We're going to put him in this and he's going to work his ass off and he's hilarious. And all these amazing improvised moments rather, really come through on film. And then they're like, cool, we got to do another one of these. Let's get away with this director that doesn't really have a lot of expertise. And let's bring in fucking Tony Scott hot off of Top Gun.
Right?
Brings his cinematographer with him, and they have that. They take the aesthetic of Beverly Hills Cop, which is basically a pretty rudimentarily shot film, and they bring in that Tony Scott flair, that feeling of that thick, atmospheric, like smoke-filled, sun-drenched LA, and it's super stylized. And then you put in Brigitte Nielsen, who is this like 8-foot-tall goddess, right?
Fucking gorgeous. I love Brigitte Nielsen so much.
And then you have Beverly Hills Cop 3. Which is almost, it was done way too late. It was almost a parody. And it was like, as Eddie Murphy is clawing at what's left of his serious comedy career and just sliding really quickly into like household family movies, like The Norbit and like all that stuff. And which is not to say it's bad. I mean, a lot of people really enjoy those films, but there was a time and a place where Eddie Murphy was really thought of as probably the most edgy comic on the planet. It was like him and guys like Andrew Dice Clay that were super polarizing. And then Eddie Murphy has some indiscretions that unfortunately come to light. And then he has kids and he gets a little older and I think he loses that edge. And now he cannot make a movie to save his soul, which is like fucking crazy. If you'd have told a 7-year-old Nick that Eddie Murphy one day would not be famous, like wouldn't be really a household name anymore, I'd be like, you're crazy, you're out of your mind. But
what was the last thing that Dreamgirls, was he in that?
He wasn't.
He was nominated for an Oscar too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Best supporting role.
I think so. And he's great in it.
Yeah,
he's a great actor.
Yeah, and it's also not a comedic role. So.
Right.
I get it.
It's just I think somewhere along the way, he was like, I don't want to be this polarizing anymore. I kind of just need to get a good paycheck and make some PG films and call it a day. But I mean, you're also on Netflix. I think right now is Raw, which is one of his stand-up acts, and it is really raunchy and really awesome and really kind of offensive and very, I hate using this term, but very in your face, but he just doesn't do stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
I had a few lines from this movie that I really enjoyed. Want to see what you guys think. Are you driving with your eyes open or are you using the Force? That was probably one of my favorites, as well as $7 for a Coke. I can get blown for $7.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That one was funny.
Oh man,
My dad made a comment like that one time. I think
that's inappropriate of your father.
Yeah, I know, right? I think some guy friends of mine had gone to New Orleans, NOLA.
Oh, sorry.
For like a frat formal or something like that, and one of them got like a blowjob from a prostitute in a back alley.
Dark.
And
in a back alley. Okay.
In a back alley, yeah. No, but
done.
She charged him like everything he had in his pocket, and it was like $93. And my dad was like, $93? Blowjob's like $25 there. No, and I was like, how do you know this, Dad?
Because Google. Yeah. I don't think any other reason. There's no other reason.
Though he would never ever do that. My father's very proper, and I don't even think my parents have sex.
No, they don't. You actually are an immaculate conception. You weren't.
I came to being. Like
Wonder Woman, like Zeus just decided to.
Yeah. Zeus brought me to life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm gonna have an affair with Chris.
Now you're gonna be in Xanadu. Let's put on some skates.
Xanadu. That's the best.
Thank you for the Xanadu.
Let's watch Xanadu again. That one
was about Xanadu.
Xanadu. Best movie review.
Is Xanadu Olivia Newton-John? Is it
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. She's gorgeous in it. I love that movie so much. It's so good. I want to remake it and I want to star in it.
You should.
You do it. We'll do it.
Okay.
Nick, you can direct it. We'll do Xanadu too.
Yes.
I would totally. But you know what's funny? I'd be like this. I would get through half the project and be like, I've never actually seen the first Xanadu.
That sounds like me.
Just gonna go straight balls to the wall into it. Why not?
So before we get into our next links, any last thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop 2?
Brigitte Nielsen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. It's so sad that it immediately make Beverly Hills Cop 3 afterward, but you know, everything eventually has an end, unfortunately, and it ends at Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah. And anytime you take somebody to a theme park, it's already you know that things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They literally had only to do one thing in Beverly Hills Cop 3. All the movie really necessitates, all that it needs to have happen, is that the main character has to come from Detroit and go to fucking Beverly Hills. Not Six Flags Magic Mountain, not Disneyland. Beverly Hills Cop is the name of the movie. And if you're not going to even deliver on just that, then I'm sorry, you can't do it. I can't get on board.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. So Nick, would you like to go first and tell us your links off of Beverly Hills Cop 2, or do you want us to go first with our links off of Ferris Bueller?
You guys go first.
Okay. All right. Should I go first, or you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. So from Ferris, so we started with Ghostbusters. From there, we went to 80s comedies. We did Beverly Hills Cop 2, as well as Ferris Bueller's Day Off. From Ferris Bueller's Day Off, our link is going to be movies with marching band scenes. Mm-hmm. And we're starting with Drumline.
Yes. Drumline.
And I assume you've seen this, Nick.
I have seen Drumline. I was actually in marching band in high school, all throughout junior high.
And this is why I picked this.
Yep. Drumline, that's Nick Cannon, right?
It is Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana.
I liked that movie way more than I probably should have liked that movie.
Drumline is the bring it on for the band.
It is. It is.
When I was in marching band in high school, there's different types of like the styles of field bands, like field marching bands. And that's like there's parade and there's field. Parade is where you go down the street and you have a parade. It's a part of a parade. And then field marching band is where you actually go out on a football field and have an actual choreographed show where you're moving around and forming shapes and the flags are being thrown in the air and girls are kicking. Mm-hmm. I'm doing
that
this.
Was me. I was the kick girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were.
I was on dance team. Yeah.
What was always cool though was to see the different styles of West Coast, like California style marching band versus like Middle America, like real marching bands where they would have like 300 to 400 people on the field and they would do fucking crazy stuff. And that's why I like this movie, because that's kind of what it reminded me of seeing, like, when, growing up in the 90s, we didn't have the internet really. So like there was no YouTube. I would just see random video footage, like videotapes of other bands from around the country. And you're like, whoa, that's insane. They're doing all sorts of high steps and like having fun and hitting those. It was really crazy. So seeing that movie kind of come to life, I was like, yes, they're making a movie about me. I'm not Nick Cannon in any way, shape, or form at all.
I went to a marching band competition when I was this was in 2002, because I was a song girl for USC. So I was technically on the marching band. And there was a competition in Chino, and they had asked us to come and perform during like the time when the judges go like decide what, teams are going to win or something like that. So we got to see a lot of the competition before that happened. And I was like, this is amazing. I've never been to anything like this. My school in high school did not have a marching band. We just had like a jazz band at the football games. And so I was just beyond like amazed at all the things that people were doing. And I was just like, wow, I'm kind of like a part of this now, which is weird. Although I'm not really. They always would make fun of us. So whenever we're on the bus with the band, did you ever were you ever on the bus with all the band together, Nick? Stacey, anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I mean, we used to go on bus trips all the time all throughout California. And those are some of my most fondest memories of high school, because it was not just the band, but it was also the drill team. And the drill team were the hottest girls in school by far.
That's right. We were the coolest girls. Yeah. So the drill team, we would have our own bus, but we would be traveling behind the football team and behind the band. And so we would all stop and get food at the same place together. And I was in choir too. So we all kind of actually a lot of us did multiple things. So like a lot of the girls around drill team that were also in choir, and some people that were also on football team were also in choir. And so we kind of, you checked a few boxes. Yeah, you checked a few boxes for sure. We were super competitive too. Like we always won state at UIL for choir, and won every dance competition. Like it was a big deal. And that was your friend group. That's who you lived with and who you dated, and everything was whatever you were involved with. So I liked that this movie showed that. They live, eat, and breathe band.
The bus is where they would haze us. So that's my impression of the bus. Is being on there. We were usually with the Drumline, and they had some dirty songs. And I was like, and anytime I watch Tombstone, this is a true story. Anytime I watch Tombstone and Dana Delaney starts singing Red River Valley, all I can think of is like the dirtiest version of Red River Valley.
Sing
and I'm like,
I cannot
get that out of my head now.
Sing it right now for us.
One verse from that song right now for us, please.
One verse? Okay.
One verse.
First of all, it's a call and response.
Okay.
So the guys sing the first part and the girls come in. So
okay.
Here's how it goes. Oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. This is an insight into the USC marching band. Allegedly, we'll say. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Come and sit on my face if you love me. We don't love you. Come and sit on my face if you care. We don't care. Here's the worst part. Let me eat out your Red River Valley. No way. Let me tangle my teeth in your hair. I don't know the other part at the end there. That's how it goes.
I'm going to text that to my boyfriend later. Let me eat out your Red River Valley and see what he says.
I've been known to try to do that every once in a while, but that just makes my wife super uncomfortable, and she says no.
You strain your neck a little bit, I feel.
I'm now very embarrassed that I've shared this song with everyone.
If you lay flat, it's okay. You don't strain your neck, and then you have to bring the mountain to you. You don't go.
That's right. It's a. You have to remain stable, remain sedentary, and then bring the seducer producer to your face.
Exactly. Like, look, you see what I'm doing here? Because I don't want my neck strained. I don't want to. Okay. I want to be right on the ground. Neck is
okay. So maybe should I get a round pillow and you put it beneath your neck to
preferable. You know what you want to do? You want to get a couple thinner pillows so that we can wedge in there depending on how tall you are. I don't know how tall you are. I can't tell sitting.
I'm 5'8". I
can't moderate this anymore, guys.
So I'm gonna need more pillows probably to push me up, because when you're, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out.
Okay. We'll figure out the acrobatics later. But okay. All right. I like that.
Awesome.
That is a wonderful theme.
So back to Drumline.
Yeah, Drumline.
Love it.
I didn't actually like Nick Cannon's actual character in this.
Really?
Pretty much the whole time. I know he's supposed to go through this metamorphosis where it's like, oh yeah, now we're working together. Yay. The story's kind of thin, but all of the band stuff is really good.
I like all the competitiveness. I like that it's, one band versus the other. What band? One sound. I like you get so hyped.
Hold on. Did your band do In the Stone?
No.
Nick, did your band do In the Stone?
No, I don't think so.
What's happening?
In the Stone is like the band song. And so they're talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if they don't play In the Stone, I'm turning this shit off right now. And then they played In the Stone like 2 seconds later. And I was like, that's right. That is the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. Like, If your band is not playing in the Stone, I don't know what
this
the
movie
fuck
gets me
they're doing.
hyped. You know, movies growing up like this movie or like Bring It On or even like Chicago. Like if you were in kind of that world, like me and all my dance friends went and saw Chicago together, and we were like literally dancing in the aisles, jumping up and down. We were like crying. We were so hyped and excited and like couldn't stop talking about the movie and couldn't stop dancing around. I feel like this movie, I felt like that when I was watching it. Even though I wasn't in a band, I don't play an instrument, you feel that just sense of like, you want to move to like every song they play, and you just get so like the finale and the competition and like everything is happening in Red River Valley and like so many things. And I just get so emotional about movies like this. Do you guys feel like that when you watch movies like this?
I do. The fist pump moment.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure. For sure.
I did feel like this movie had a better rivalry arc than Batman versus Superman.
Yes, it does.
Definitely.
It does. Yeah.
I mean,
most movies can.
A lot of movies have a better rivalry arc, unfortunately. God, I owe my wife big. I made her sit down and watch the extended version of that for the first time.
I need to see that. I need to see it.
What's with the extended version? What happens? What's the
30
difference?
minutes longer, and it's unnecessary.
30?
30.
Oh my God.
It is 3 hours long. And some stuff gets explained. You're like, oh, that's interesting. I'm glad they explained that. But that whole scene, that whole part, useless. Don't even need to be in that movie. It was rightfully edited out. It's weird.
I can't. No, that's.
I
too
feel
much.
sad for that movie. I just
Yeah.
want to give it a hug. Like,
I know.
sorry,
It's trying so hard.
we can do better.
It's trying so hard. And the fans, we're piling too much shit on it. It's piling too much shit on itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even get into a debate about Batman v Superman right now when we're talking about Drumline because I'm too hyped. And there's too much emotion. I'm too
Hold on, you guys are going to walk with me for a second because I totally forgot to charge my computer. It's going to die.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Die.
So here's what else. Let's go on to Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, which has a marching band in the beginning.
It does. It has a little marching band scene. It's kind of like his, the big like not opening credits, but it's not the opening of it, but it is for the credits. And this is like da-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, and it's like playing the little Austin Powers song, and they have a little marching band in
Let
there.
me tell you something. That marching band is the Riverside Community College marching band.
Tigers, and I love that you know that. That's hilarious. Another fun fact: my wife's actually in that movie.
What is she in it? What is she?
She is her dance team back in the day was hired. She works with a choreographer that did actually still does a lot of work in movies, and she was part of that the woman's Marguerite's dance troupe, and so they were hired to be some of the dancers in that opening scene. And they're also actually in the opening scene in the '60s and stuff like that. So
was she like one of the painted ladies in like the bikini with the little flower child thing?
No, she's just one of the dancers. It's hilarious. Oh. Like I'd have to point her out in certain scenes. She's actually in one of the scenes where she's actually in the scene, and you can see her in the scene where where he takes off in the Bob's Big Boy, and there's a couple people there's a bunch of people on the street like looking. She's one of those people. It's hilarious.
Nice.
Anytime that movie's on, like anytime it's on anything, I DVR it for her, and she just is like, stop doing that, and then I'll just specifically shoot up to the front right when you can see her face, because she gives this ridiculous look like, what's going on? It's so fun. It's the cutest thing. Plus she was like 18, and I'm like, oh my god, hilarious. That's what you like. That's you.
Before you knew her.
Yeah.
Isn't that adorable? I love her to death.
Oh, that's super cute. I'm gonna have to look out for her then. I'm gonna watch it again.
Freeze
and I'm gonna be like, the cute 18-year-old. I know that person kind of through osmosis. I know who eats out her Red River Valley. Great. Just kidding.
Let's clarify. I definitely eat at the valley. I'm not generally allowed near the valley when the red rivers flow.
Not when it's
I'm
red.
sorry
when
that
it's
I
a
brought
normal
this up,
river.
guys.
Good, no smell, clear river that's happening. Very, very healthy smelling. It's a musk, but a good musk.
It's a healthy mucus.
Exactly.
It's what's supposed to happen. This is the dirtiest show we've ever done. And
I don't know. That one with Sasha Pearl Raver was pretty.
That one was
dirty.
Sasha Pearl Raver is a dirty girl, and I like her, and we get along very well. Do you know this movie came out in '97? I forgot that it was. I thought it was like early 2000s for some reason, but it was '97. It was like
a lot of the jokes don't hit for me anymore. So obviously it's like doesn't hold up because of that. But because it's all very referential. I do like Seth Green. He's one of my favorite parts. And here's a little trivia for you guys that you don't know. So when he's talking at the part where they do the shh scene, he talks like about this event that happens at some bar or something, and he calls this guy Sweet J. And Sweet J is actually a reference to Robot Chicken, because originally Robot Chicken was called Sweet J Presents. And I know this because I worked with the guys who made Sweet J Presents, and I said to them, "This is your best stuff. Why aren't you doing more with this?" And 2 years later, Robot Chicken comes out. Oh,
there you go.
You are in charge. You have the blame for his amazing career, Seth Green.
That's right. Yes. That's it.
It wasn't Can't Hardly Wait. It was.
Well, he wasn't the one that. Well, he did work on it before, but he wasn't the one that was in the production studio that I worked for. But they were all part of it. So
got it.
There you go.
Now Mike Myers wanted Jim Carrey to play Dr. Evil, but then he had scheduling conflicts with Liar. Yeah. So then Mike Myers
choice,
was like,
I think.
I'm just gonna do it myself. Yeah,
I think he does good. As Dr. Evil.
Yeah, no, I think it was a great job. I mean, this movie, I feel like it's a parody of other films, but it's also like parodied, throughout, like those, some of those comedy moments and the whole Mini-Me thing. It went so far, like it continued to go throughout like the 90s and the 2000s.
Easily, like those movies, especially the original Austin Powers, is a classic at this point. Like it's unfortunate that a lot of Mike Myers' humor doesn't necessarily translate. Although I will say that I watched recently, I think it was about 6 months ago, I watched Wayne's World again, and I'm like, still got it, still entertaining.
Yes. Wayne's World's still so good.
Although I can imagine someone seeing that, a pair of fresh eyes seeing that movie now, who grew up, say maybe she was born in like 1990, 1991, probably wouldn't understand. Actually, no, you would though, because that movie came out in the 90s, so you would remember.
Yeah, it came out in 97. I remember. Did I see this in theaters
at 6?
At 7 years old.
So that's right.
My parents let me watch like whatever I wanted when I was little. Like I watched HBO way too young. And I remember seeing like Sex and the City episodes. And I think my parents took me to see Red Dragon in theaters when I was like 10. And I remember, this is such an odd moment to be burned into my brain, but it probably traumatized me a little bit when Ray Fiennes walking up a little like circle staircase.
I don't even know where we are right now.
And it's like in the shadows, and you can see like his kibbles and bits kind of swinging, and I was like, that's his like there's nudity, there's a little bit of nudity in there, and I remember his his gondolas just being awesome. on display in the shadows. So there you go. That was my childhood. Yeah.
You know what? We need to move on because we are way over time.
Okay.
So Nick,
shit. Okay. Sorry.
This is what happens.
It happens
right?
every time.
Let's get so we did marching band films off of Ferris Bueller, and we did Austin Powers as International Man of Mystery, as well as Drumline. And Nick's going to go off of Beverly Hills Cop 2.
What do you got? I'm going to go Beverly Hills Cop 2, and I'm going to go a little less obscure like you guys did. I'm just going to talk about movies directed by Tony Scott. And,
yes. Cool.
Where we've already mentioned one, which I think is arguably probably the most iconic movie one ever made, and two that he ever made, which is Top Gun.
Yes.
Top Gun.
We've not talked about this. This is exciting. A lot of times we get things that we've already talked about, but no, not Top Gun.
We have not.
Top Gun has some of the most iconic scenes ever filmed, not the least of which is the volleyball scene, which happens for no reason in the film. There is no of F-16 or F-14 pilots just decide haphazardly that they're going to go and play beach volleyball in their jeans and take them. Not shorts, not bathing suits. Their jeans. Full jeans, right? Because someone somewhere was like, you know what's hotter than really tiny like bathing suit? Denim. Let's wrap Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise in
unbreathable denim.
Wet. Let's just get them sweaty. Get them real sweaty. And I always felt bad for Anthony Edwards in that scene because everyone else was jacked and had their shirts off, and they
Yeah.
made him wear just a little cut off shirt. They're like, let's
Aw,
Anthony
poor
put the shirt
guy.
Oh.
I want to be the
didn't have
person
the
that like
pecs.
oils them down. They've got to do that before the scenes. I love at UFC when they like get them ready, like before they go in the cage. Like I want to be that person that like
Yeah.
wipes their face and stuff. I'm like,
The guy that he puts the Vaseline on their face.
yes. How do I
Yeah.
get that job, guys? I need to
Yeah.
figure this out. I
Yeah.
need
You
I
want
need
that
a job.
You don't let blood spit on you if you have that job.
But it's before the match, so they're all nice and clean.
That's true.
But yeah, I love obviously like Top Gun is probably one of the best action films ever made. It made every kid in the 80s want to be a fighter pilot growing up, myself included. Except I was like, wait, you have to know math? Fuck that. That's not happening. I'll just watch Top Gun over and over again.
And it made every fraternity sing that song.
Oh my
Every
God. You
fraternity.
that love and feeling.
You can't go to a frat party without that.
Oh, I had many fraternities come to our sorority meetings
and then sing that song.
sing
It's
to
so
us
annoying.
and
Stop
invite us
that.
to their parties, and they would hand us. And every
They're
time
still
I was
doing
like,
it.
I'm so wet right now. I'm just gobble it up. La 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 la. la. It's so great. So,
It's
Monday
just-
night dinner.
yeah,
God
exactly.
damn it.
Monday night meeting. Yep, every time.
God, that is amazing. Yeah. So again, so thank you to Tony Scott for giving us that gem because it gave so much. It is the gift that keeps on giving, really.
What do you think about? They're doing number 2, right?
Oh, why are we doing this? Yeah, why are we doing that? I don't know.
It's happening. I don't know.
I mean, I just don't think that it's the same
Let
with
it be.
Ghostbusters.
Let it be. Let it be. That's all I can think of.
No, it's just one of those things. It's gonna just happen. It's just like I finally sat down and watched the remake of Point Break.
I saw that on Christmas Day.
Holy shit! What a pointless film. Like pointless. I mean, it was beautifully shot. I guess
Gorgeous.
none of it made any sense, and I just didn't care about anything. Now, granted,
wait a second. Point Break is really Fast and Furious franchise now, which is awesome. I mean, that's why we love it.
Oh, for sure. It's so stupid, but it's all about like extremeness and then feeling like relationships.
Nick's
with men.
like one of his favorite franchises is the Fast franchise,
It's
so we can all be
about
friends.
Their friendship and their love for each other, and also extreme sports.
It's
So,
funny.
yeah.
It's funny. I never actually drew the parallel between Point Break and Fast and Furious, but you're right. It's almost the exact
totally
same.
is. It's totally Fast Five. Fast Five is when that transition happened.
It is the absolute same formula. Keanu Reeves is undercover cop trying to get in with the street cred people, and they eventually fall in love. That is the love story, and it's all about extreme sports.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what.
And you guys can watch
Fast
Furious 7 with us on our watch along on this channel. So
yes, you can.
If you want to do that?
Love
cue
it.
that up.
Love
watch
it.
Watch me cry. Watch Hector dance.
Hector dances in a Spider-Man onesie, and you cry.
The second the Whiskey song comes on, I will cry right there with you.
I can, if it comes on in the car, I'm like, I'm with my husband. I'm like, shut it off now. Stop.
My wife, who has not seen Fast 7, was like, I don't understand why is everyone so like, why does everyone get so emotional during the song? And I was like, oh, I'll tell you right now, because at the very end, and it mirrors, and as I'm telling her the minute detail of that last scene and why it's so relevant, I started to cry. And then you don't understand. He looks, and it's exactly like the first time they looked at each other, and then they're not don't want to, and then they just tear off, and it's just beautiful.
No, but he ascends into heaven in his white car like he's an angel.
He is an angel, goddammit. Paul Walker's an angel.
He is
Less of during his time.
I cried for at least 2 hours after the film too. I just kept thinking about it and cry, not continuous crying, but I'd cry and then I'd stop. And then I cry again. I'm like, I've never cried like this before.
It's a beautifully moving story. What the fuck are we talking about right now?
I don't know.
Totally
Okay, sorry, Nick. We're back to Top Gun. What's the other film that you brought?
My other film going forward in Tony Scott's career is a movie written by Quentin Tarantino called True Romance. And I absolutely I saw this film for the first time, and this was another one of those wow moments for me. I'm like, I didn't know you could make a film like this. I didn't know that this was allowed. This is ridiculous. This is so fucking violent and crazy and sexual and telling a story in a completely different way with these characters that are just so off the fucking wall. And then midway through, Christopher Walken comes in and you're like, hallelujah to you for being everywhere, Christopher Walken. You should be in every movie doing just that same character.
He's in Geely. He's randomly in Geely. Did you know that?
I saw Geely, but I don't remember.
He's in Geely. Mm-hmm.
Everything's dirt, for Christ's sake. He's everywhere. He just does. I have a firm belief that if you can pay Christopher Walken in like whatever weird currency he wants, he'll do your movie. I don't mean that in like, yeah, he might not take cash. Maybe he'll take like dolls' heads.
Ketchup packets. Ketchup packets.
Yeah, ketchup packets. But like my dream one day is to be able to actually direct Christopher Walken and like do it in his voice. You know, I'm just like, everyone has to talk like Walken today because Walken's coming on set, and that's just how it has to happen.
He was in that good film, that indie film that I like called Scotland, PA, which is basically Hamlet, the retelling of Hamlet, but like it's a modern day. I like that one, so check that out if you haven't seen it.
I've never heard of that. I will. Will do.
Love it.
I love it.
So there we go.
That's all our films.
Those
Holy
are our
shit,
films.
We talked about a lot.
Ghostbusters, then the 80s comedies with Beverly Hills Cop 2 and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off, we did marching band scenes in films and did Austin Powers as well as Drumline. And off of Beverly Hills Cop 2, Nick did Tony Scott films. Wait, no, not Tony Scott. Hold on. What is your link?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Tony Scott films.
Okay. Yes, Top Gun and True Romance.
Yeah. Which I have not seen, which I will need to check out.
I love Quentin Tarantino. He's like I think of him as like a movie choreographer, because a good choreographer will take like parts of a dance and use them all to create a new dance. Mm-hmm. And he takes parts of movies that he loves and things that he loves and puts them into one film.
Which some people hate and think that it's a cop-out, but I like that too.
That's
I think you're really going to like True Romance. I think it was like, especially if you ever had a crush on Christian Slater, like this was him.
Yes, Mr. Robot.
He was a little before my time, but
Heathers, come on, Heathers.
I know Heathers. I know Heathers was before my time as well.
This was probably the last great film that he did.
Cuffs? Come on.
Well, I think this was after that.
Okay.
Cuffs might have been before, but
wait, what's Cuffs? You mean Night of Cups?
No. Cuffs.
Cuffs?
Yes.
Cuffs?
Pump up the volume.
Pump up the volume. Pump up the bass. What are we talking about?
The Volume was a great movie. Great.
All right. So here at the end of the show, we do what's called movie link tweets. I tweet out our first link and see what responses we got. And we have some people that we kind of know. So I said, what's your favorite 80s comedy? Which is kind of a hard question for people. Jack Shipley said Police Academy. Jason and Ashley Davis say Spaceballs. Gia Tap Harris says Some Kind of Wonderful. Hey, Gia. Matthew Johnston says The Blues Brothers. Joey Noel says Ferris Bueller or Overboard. Geek Furious says The Princess Bride? ? Thinking, is that a comedy? Which we'll take it. Janine LC.
It's pretty funny.
Janine LC says Troop Beverly Hills. What? That's my favorite movie ever. Ben Bellevue, Amy Gilroy say Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Randall Sands and Unknown Chico IT Guy say Stripes. It Resolves, Master Splinter, and Sean Bird say Ghostbusters. And I have some honorable mentions, which are Raising Arizona, Beverly Hills Cop, La Bamba, and Overboard, which we already said Overboard. So there you go.
Overboard, so
I don't remember La Bamba being a comedy.
I don't know.
Didn't he die? He died.
Spoiler.
Hey, that's what happened in real life, guys. We also try to do a little Kevin Bacon spiel and link it back to Kevin Bacon. So Kevin Bacon was in Wild Things with Bill Murray, who was in Ghostbusters. So that was a pretty short one.
That was
sometimes they're long and around in a big 6 degrees way, but this one was pretty short.
And now we've come to my favorite part of the podcast, where we ask, would Ghostbusters be better with Rocky? Now, today it's going to be, would Ghostbusters be better with Rocky and Christopher Walken?
Love it.
And so we're going to have Sylvester Stallone as Rocky, as Janine in this scenario, Christopher Walken as himself, as Winston.
Winston Zedmore. Love it.
So there we go.
All right, I'm excited and I'm nervous and I hate this bit and I hate that we have
You don't hate this bit. You love this bit.
I prepare meticulously for this. Here we go. Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis?
I don't know why you're worried about that. You did a great job. I'm sorry, I have to. It's fine. If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe in anything.
Nice.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you for that. I always enjoy it every week.
Every time. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, what you gotta do is you gotta smoke like 30 or 40 cigarettes before you do it, so you really get that drive in your voice.
Yeah. A little. I need a little I need a little more Philly in my voice.
You're working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. You know,
maybe take some testosterone. You get more testosterone in the body.
I do. I gotta gurgle some egg yolks while I do it. Oh, it's okay. It gets away from me sometimes, but. All right.
We have some things coming up since we're live this Wednesday,
yeah.
August 10th. We're doing like the podcast world tour. We're going to be on Popcorn Talk Network's Action Movie Anatomy talking Cliffhanger with Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. That's so live excited. At 3 p.m.
So fucking.
And we're also going to be that same night, August 10th, Wednesday, August 10th. We're going to be at 7 p.m. on Geek and Sundry's Twitch channel for the concession stand.
Yes.
So with Hector, Adam, Augustin, Erica, all the good folks over there. So thank you. We're excited.
I'll bring my hot Cheetos.
Where can we find you, Nick? Thank you so much for being on our show.
My pleasure. Anytime. You can find me at youtube.com/kindoffunny. You can go to kindoffunny.com, or you can find me on Twitter at Nick_Scarpino, because I wasn't smart enough to get my name before the other Nick Scarpino got hit.
It's all right. I got on Instagram and Snapchat Miss_movies, so I get it.
Part of the underscore club, man.
But on Twitter, you're just normal Miss Movies, right?
Yeah, I got it on that one.
Okay.
Thank
you can
goodness.
find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012. It's just what I made up back in the day, and it's stuck. So that's my Twitter. You can find me live tweeting movies all the time. Yep.
That's it.
Okay.
You can find me wearing leggings as pants in Manhattan Beach and on Twitter at Miss Movies. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I am.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
What a fun time.
And thank you for tolerating all of my emails.
I love it. I love over communication. It makes me it helps my overall anxiety level.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.